I stared at the for sale sign planted in my front yard like it was a knife in my back. My hands trembled as I pulled into the driveway, the familiar curves of my beloved craftsman home now feeling like a stranger's territory. 24 hours ago, this was my sanctuary. Now it was apparently someone else's future home. My name is Angela, and I'd spent the last 15 years teaching art to middle schoolers while quietly building something of my own on the side. If only my husband Martin knew what I'd accomplished while he was busy making his power moves in real estate. "Honey, you're home early," Martin's voice carried from the porch, casual as if he hadn't just detonated our marriage. He stood there in his pressed suit, that artificial smile plastered across his face. "What did you do?" I kept my voice steady, though my insides were churning. "Now, Angela, let's discuss this rationally." He descended the steps, arms spread in that patronizing way he used with difficult clients. "The market's hot right now. We'd be foolish not to." I cut him off. "When exactly did we discuss selling our home? You don't understand the financial pressures I'm under." He ran his fingers through his graying hair. "The Bradley development deal fell through, and I needed to liquidate assets quickly." "Liquidate assets?" I laughed. But there was no humor in it. "This is our home, Martin. My studio is here. My life is here. Your little art hobby can happen anywhere." He waved dismissively. "Besides, you don't contribute enough to the mortgage to—" "Stop right there." My voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "You have no idea what I contribute. Angela, be reasonable. The papers are already signed. We close in 30 days." The world tilted sideways. "You forged my signature?" His silence was answer enough. "That's illegal," I said, my mind already racing through possibilities. "I'll contest it." Martin laughed, actually laughed. "With what money? Your teacher's salary. Face it, Angela, you need me to handle these things. I'm doing this for us." I pulled out my phone, fingers shaking as I dialed. "Leah, it's Angela. Remember that legal consultation you offered? I need it, now." Martin's smirk faltered slightly. "Who's Leah?" "One of my students' parents." I met his eyes. "A divorce attorney." "You're being dramatic." He reached for my arm, but I stepped back. "Where will you even go?" "Don't worry about me." I headed toward the house, my house, pausing at the door. "You know, Martin, you made one crucial mistake." "Oh?" His tone dripped condescension. "And what's that?" "You assumed I was as powerless as you made me feel." I smiled, thinking of my thriving online business, the network I'd built, the resources he knew nothing about. "That was your first and last mistake." As I closed the door in his face, I heard him call out, "Don't be ridiculous, Angela. You're nothing without me." I leaned against the door, heart pounding, anger burning away, the last traces of shock. He thought I was nothing. Fine. I'd show him exactly what nothing looked like when it took everything from him. My phone buzzed. Leah was calling back. "Time to get to work." "You're telling me you've been running a six-figure business right under his nose?" Leah's perfectly manicured nails wrapped around her coffee mug as she leaned forward across my classroom desk. The after-school quiet provided the perfect cover for our conversation. "7 figures, actually." I pulled up the sales dashboard on my tablet. Custom digital art and design courses. Started small, but it exploded during the pandemic. Leah's eyes widened as she scanned the numbers. "And Martin has no idea. He never bothered to ask what I did on my laptop every night." I closed the tablet with a snap. He was too busy telling everyone how he supported his teacher wife's cute little hobby. God, men can be so predictably stupid. She set down her coffee. "But Angela, this changes everything. With documented income like this, we can—" The classroom door opened, and Cassandra walked in, her designer handbag swinging. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was horrible." She pulled up a chair. "Please tell me you have a plan to destroy that bastard." "Cassandra!" I hadn't expected her to be so direct. "What?" "The man who commissioned 3 pieces from your online studio, then tried to lowball you because it's just digital art, is now selling your house without consent." She raised an eyebrow. He deserves whatever's coming. Wait, Leah sat up straighter. Martin was your problem client last year, the one who tried to dispute the charges. I nodded. He never knew it was me. Used a business name, of course, but that's not even the best part. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email I'd received that morning. Look who bought our house. Nicholas Bradley? Cassandra's mouth fell open. The developer? The same one Martin claims screwed him over. I couldn't help but smile. Nicholas is an old client, one of my best, and he has no idea he just bought my house. This is better than those revenge novels I read. Leah muttered. What are you thinking? Nicholas is hosting the community fundraiser next week. I started gathering my teaching supplies. Martin will be there, trying to smooth things over after their failed deal. Seems like the perfect time for some truths to come out. The annual Arts Foundation event. Cassandra's eyes lit up. Half the town's movers and shakers will be there, including my husband's entire law firm. Exactly, I shouldered my bag. Martin thinks he can handle the fallout of his little scheme, but he's about to learn what happens when you underestimate the wrong person. You'll need backup, Leah said, standing. The parents' committee would love to hear about a prominent realtor forging his wife's signature. And I might know some people who'd be interested in Martin's other creative business practices. Cassandra added, if you're willing to share those disputed transaction records. I paused at the door, looking at these women, my unexpected allies. Are you sure you want to get involved? This could get messy. Honey. Cassandra linked her arm through mine. We've watched you build something amazing, while that man took all the credit. It's time for a reckoning. Besides, Leah grinned, following us out. I've been dying to see Nicholas's face when he realizes who really owns that house he just bought. Walking to our cars, I felt lighter than I had in days. Martin thought he was playing chess, but he didn't realize he'd already lost his queen, and she was about to take his king. Nicholas's office overlooked the city skyline, but his attention was fixed firmly on my laptop screen. You're telling me this is your work, the Artistic Visions portfolio. Every piece. I scrolled through my digital gallery, including the commissioned pieces for your development projects last year. I'll be damned. He leaned back in his chair, running a hand over his salt and pepper beard. Martin never mentioned his wife was the artist behind my favorite designs. Martin doesn't know. I closed the laptop, just like I didn't know he was selling our house until I saw the sign. Nicholas's expression darkened. He said you were both eager to sell, mentioned something about downsizing for retirement. Retirement? I couldn't help but laugh. I'm 42 and running a 7-figure business. Does that sound like someone ready to retire? He forged your signature, didn't he? Nicholas stood, pacing to the window. That explains why he was so insistent on closing quickly. Cash deal, no questions asked. Got it in one. I joined him at the window. The thing is, Nicholas, I don't actually want to stop the sale. He turned, eyebrows raised. No? I want to buy it back. I met his gaze. At the same price you paid. Plus, a handling fee for your trouble, of course. Interesting. He crossed his arms. And what about Martin's claims that I backed out of our development deal? You mean the deal where he promised you property he didn't own? I pulled out another folder. Cassandra's husband works at Morton & Price. He found some interesting discrepancies in Martin's recent transactions. Nicholas whistled as he flipped through the documents. Your husband's been busy. He's not my husband much longer. I took back the folder. The question is, are you willing to help me fix this mess? The Arts Foundation fundraiser is tomorrow night. Nicholas smiled slowly. Martin's planning to announce our reconciliation and a new development deal. I heard. I matched his smile. Shame if someone revealed the truth instead. Angela. He sat on the edge of his desk. Why didn't you come forward about your business before? You've built something impressive. Because I learned early on that men like Martin can't handle successful wives. I stood straighter. But I'm done hiding. Good. He extended his hand. Let's draw up the paperwork for the house transfer now. I want to see Martin's face when he realizes what's happening. An hour later, I walked out of Nicholas's office with a new set of documents and a confirmed speaking slot at tomorrow's fundraiser. My phone buzzed with a text from Leah. Martin's getting nervous. He's been calling around about legal representation. No one's taking his calls. Another message popped up, this one from Cassandra, just accidentally, mentioned to the charity board about Martin's creative bookkeeping. They're reviewing all his past contributions. I smiled, remembering Martin's words from just days ago. "You're nothing without me," he'd said. Now his carefully constructed world was unraveling, thread by thread, and he didn't even know I was the one pulling them. Tomorrow night couldn't come fast enough. Martin wanted to make announcements. Fine. But I had a few announcements of my own to make. The Arts Foundation fundraiser buzzed with energy as I adjusted my black cocktail dress. The one Martin always said was too bold for a teacher. Leah appeared at my elbow, champagne in hand. "Martin's by the bar," she whispered, "telling everyone how concerned he is about your recent behavior." Perfect. I sipped my water, watching him work the room. "Is everything set? Cassandra's husband has the documents ready. Nicholas is waiting for your signal." She squeezed my arm. "Are you sure about this?" Before I could answer, Martin spotted me and strode over, his public smile firmly in place. "Angela, darling, I've been looking everywhere for you." "Have you?" I matched his fake smile. "I thought you'd be busy preparing for your big announcement." "About that." He gripped my elbow, steering me toward a quiet corner. "We need to talk, now." "Actually," I pulled away. "I believe Nicholas is about to speak." Right on cue, Nicholas tapped his glass, drawing everyone's attention. "Thank you all for coming tonight. Before we begin the fundraising portion of our evening, I have an exciting announcement." Martin's smile tightened. This wasn't part of his script. "As many of you know," Nicholas continued, "I recently purchased a beautiful craftsman home in our historic district. What you don't know is that this purchase was made under, shall we say, questionable circumstances." The room fell silent. Martin stepped forward. "Nicholas, perhaps this isn't the time." "But it's exactly the time," I cut in, moving to stand beside Nicholas. "Please, continue." "The truth is," Nicholas smiled, "I'm returning the house to its rightful owner, Angela Hughes, whose signature was forged on the sale documents." Gasps echoed through the room. Martin's face went from red to white. "That's ridiculous," he sputtered. "Angela doesn't have the means to—" Actually, I stepped up to the microphone, pulling up my business portfolio on the large display screen. "I do. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Angela, founder and CEO of Artistic Visions Digital Design." The screen filled with my work, including projects for half the people in the room. Recognition dawned on faces throughout the crowd. "Wait," someone called out. "You're the artist behind the new cultural center designs." "And my company's rebranding," another added. "Yes," I smiled, though some people preferred to think of it as my cute little hobby. Martin lunged for the microphone, but Cassandra's husband smoothly intercepted him, legal documents in hand. "Mr. Hughes, we should discuss these fraud allegations immediately." "Fraud?" Martin's voice cracked. "This is absurd. Angela, tell them." "Tell them what?" I faced him directly. "That you sold our home without my knowledge. That you've been taking credit for my success while dismissing my work. Or should I tell them about the other properties you've sold with questionable paperwork?" The room erupted in whispers. Martin's business associates began edging away from him. "You've ruined everything," he hissed. "No, Martin." I handed him my champagne glass. "You did that all on your own. I just stopped hiding." Nicholas raised his glass again. "And now, let's begin our auction." First item: an exclusive digital art piece by our very own Angela Hughes, starting at $50,000. As the bidding began, and Martin was led away by stern-faced lawyers, I caught Leah's eye across the room. She winked and mouthed 3 words. "Worth the wait." Indeed it was, and we weren't finished yet. The keys to my house felt heavy in my palm as I stood in the driveway. Nicholas had handed them over this morning with a grin and a warning. Martin's been making calls. Be careful. My phone buzzed. Another message from Martin's sister. You've destroyed his reputation. How could you be so cruel? I deleted it without responding, just like the others. The front door opened before I could reach for it, revealing Tori, my fellow art teacher, armed with cleaning supplies. Thought you might want company for this, she said, holding up a bottle of wine. Plus, I heard he left the place a mess. She wasn't wrong. Inside, Martin's rage was evident. Papers scattered, photos smashed, walls scuffed where he'd yanked down my artwork. Charming, Tori muttered, picking up a broken frame. Real mature. He always did have a flair for dramatics. I started gathering the torn papers, though throwing out my students' thank you cards seems excessive. Speaking of students, Tori began sweeping glass. The principal wants to feature your business success story at Career Day. Apparently, half the parents are suddenly very interested in digital art classes. I laughed, but the sound died as I found Martin's wedding photo, cracked but intact. He was smiling, looking at me like I was his whole world. The doorbell rang, interrupting my thoughts. Through the peephole, I saw Martin, looking disheveled in a wrinkled suit. I know you're in there, Angela. His voice carried through the door. We need to talk. Tori grabbed her phone. Should I call someone? No. I opened the door, but kept the security chain on. What do you want, Martin? They're investigating all my deals. His eyes were bloodshot. The board is suspending my license. My own clients are filing complaints. Sounds like a personal problem. Personal. He rattled the door. You orchestrated this. You and your new friends. I've lost everything. Now you know how it feels. I met his gaze steadily. The difference is, you did this to yourself. I did everything for us. He slumped against the door frame. For our future. No, you did everything for yourself. I touched the chain. Just like I'm doing everything for myself now. Please. His voice cracked. I can't lose you too. You lost me the moment you decided I was worthless. I closed the door, his protests muffled through the wood. Tori appeared beside me, wine glasses in hand. You okay? Actually, yes. I took a glass, though I'm starting to wonder if this revenge tastes as sweet as I thought it would. Having second thoughts? No. I walked to the window, watching Martin's car pull away. But success feels different than I imagined. Less triumphant, more complicated, Tori suggested. Yeah, I turned back to the mess. Help me clean up. I want to set up my studio again. Of course, she clinked her glass against mine. To new beginnings. To new beginnings. I smiled, surveying my reclaimed space, and to finally being seen. We worked in comfortable silence, erasing Martin's tantrum and restoring my home. But his desperate eyes haunted me, stirring something unexpected. Not guilt exactly, but a question. In winning this battle, had I become something I never meant to be? The answer would have to wait. Right now, I had a life to rebuild. Another commission. Leah peered over my shoulder at my laptop screen during lunch break. That's the third one this week from Martin's former clients. Apparently, being the wronged wife is good for business. I closed the email, though I'm not sure how I feel about that. Having second thoughts about exposing him? No, it's just, my phone buzzed with a text from Cassandra. Turn on the local news, now. I pulled up the live stream on my phone, Leah crowding close to watch. Martin stood outside the realtor board offices, microphone in his face. My wife orchestrated this witch hunt, he was saying, voice trembling with practiced emotion. She manipulated everyone, including my clients. All because I tried to make a better life for us. That lying, Leah started, but I shushed her as Martin continued. I admit I made mistakes, but Angela's vindictive campaign has destroyed not just me, but countless innocent people who depended on my business. Their jobs, their livelihoods. I shut off the stream, hands shaking. He's trying to turn this around on me. Nobody's buying it, Leah assured me. Look at the comments. But I was already gathering my things. I need to end this, now. Angela, wait. I was out the door before she could finish. 20 minutes later, I pulled into the TV station parking lot, just as Martin was walking to his car. Quite a performance, I called out, making him jump. Though you forgot to mention the forged signatures and fraudulent deals. Angela, he straightened his tie, glancing around. Come to finish what you started. Actually, yes. I held up my phone. I just forwarded the station proof of every claim I made against you, including timestamps showing your mistakes were calculated decisions spanning years. His fake composure cracked. You wouldn't. I already did. I stepped closer. You know what your real mistake was, Martin? Not the fraud, not even selling our house. It was assuming I'd stay quiet forever. I made you, he snarled, mask fully slipping. You were nothing but a school teacher when I met you. I gave you the freedom to play with your little art projects. You didn't make me, I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make him flinch. You didn't even see me, and now everyone sees exactly who you are. Is that what you wanted? He grabbed my arm. To humiliate me? To destroy everything I built? Let go. My voice was ice. Or the security camera footage of you assaulting me will be tomorrow's headline. He released me like I'd burned him. When did you become so cold? When you taught me that power was the only thing men like you respect. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Martin. The station also has proof that you knew about my business all along. Those disputed payments last year. You knew exactly who you were trying to cheat. The color drained from his face. How did you check your email records, the ones you thought you deleted? I smiled. Turns out I'm pretty good with computers too. As I walked away, I heard him call out, "What happens now?" I didn't turn around. Now you get to experience what it feels like to be powerless. Consider it my final gift to you. In my car, my phone lit up with messages from Leah and Cassandra, but I ignored them. For the first time since this started, victory tasted like ashes in my mouth. The board has revoked his license permanently, Cassandra announced, setting down her coffee in my newly restored studio. And 3 more clients have filed lawsuits. I heard he's living in a motel, Leah added. His sister won't even take him in. I stared at my latest digital artwork, a dark, twisted piece I'd created last night. Not my usual style at all. Maybe we went too far. He went too far first, Leah protested. But Tori, who'd been quiet until now, leaned forward. Angela, what's really bothering you? Yesterday, one of my students showed me his father's bankruptcy filing. I turned from the screen. He worked for Martin, single dad, 3 kids. That's not your fault, Cassandra insisted. Isn't it? I wanted Martin to hurt, but a commotion outside interrupted us. Through the window, I saw Martin stumbling up my driveway, clearly drunk. I'm calling the police. Leah reached for her phone. No, I stood. I need to handle this. I met him at the door before he could knock. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his eyes red-rimmed. Come to gloat? He slurred. The mighty Martin, sleeping in a $50 motel. You should go home. Home? He laughed bitterly. You took that, remember, just like you took everything else. You took it first, I reminded him. I just took it back. I was trying to save us. He stepped closer, desperation rolling off him. The development deal was falling apart. I needed that money. So you committed fraud? I needed to be something. His voice cracked. You were rising, becoming this success. I was failing. Do you know what that feels like? Actually, I do. I met his gaze. You made sure I felt it every day for years. He deflated, shoulders sagging. I loved you, Angela. I still love you. No, you loved owning me. I softened my voice. And I loved letting you, because it was easier than fighting. Please, he reached for my hand. We can start over. I'll do better. There's no starting over, Martin. I stepped back. But I can stop what's happening. His eyes lit with hope. I'll talk to your former clients, I continued. Ask them to drop the lawsuits. Your employees can have severance packages, but in return, you leave. Start fresh somewhere else. You'd do that? He searched my face. Why? Because destroying you didn't fix anything. I pulled out an envelope. This is enough to get you started somewhere new. Consider it a divorce settlement. I don't deserve this. No, you don't. I pressed the envelope into his hand. But I deserve to be free of this anger, and those innocent people deserve a chance to rebuild. He stared at the envelope, tears falling freely now. I really did love you, you know? I know, that's what made it all worse. As he walked away, my friends emerged from the house. You're a better person than he deserved, Tori said softly. No, I watched his car disappear. I'm just tired of letting him determine who I am, even in revenge. Leah squeezed my shoulder. So what now? Now? I turned back to my home, my real home. Now I finally get to be myself. And that's how I built my business, I concluded, facing the room full of middle school students. Career Day had turned out better than expected, with eager faces and raised hands everywhere. Mrs. Hughes, a girl in the front row, asked, "Weren't you scared to stand up for yourself?" Terrified, I admitted, but sometimes being brave means doing something even when you're scared. Did your husband ever apologize? Another student called out. The last I heard, he's teaching real estate courses in Arizona. I smiled. Sometimes the best apology is just staying gone. The bell rang, and students filed out, chattering excitedly. Tori appeared in the doorway as I gathered my things. Ready for the gallery opening? Almost. I glanced at my phone. Another email from Martin's sister, but this one was different. She's thanking me, says he's actually doing better now, teaching others how to avoid the mistakes he made. Karma has a way of teaching the hardest lessons, Tori mused. Speaking of teaching, the online art school launches next week. I shouldered my bag. Nicholas and Cassandra's investment made it possible to scale faster than I planned. We walked to the parking lot, where Leah waited by her car. The caterers are set, she announced, and the gallery is packed. Who knew revenge would lead to such a successful business expansion? It wasn't the revenge, I corrected her. It was finally believing I deserved more. The gallery hummed with energy as I cut the ribbon, officially opening Artistic Visions Studio and Learning Center. My digital art filled the walls, alongside works from promising students. Quite a change from teaching in your spare room, Nicholas commented, admiring a piece. Life's funny that way. I watched a group of students demonstrate digital art techniques to interested parents. Sometimes losing everything shows you what you really had all along. Speaking of having things, Cassandra joined us, contract in hand. The community center wants to commission a permanent installation. They specifically requested the artist who turned revenge into renaissance. I laughed. Is that what they're calling it? Well, you did transform a pretty ugly situation into something beautiful. She gestured around the gallery. Look at what you've built. We built, I corrected her. I couldn't have done this alone. No, Leah agreed, appearing with champagne. But you had to take the first step alone. Everything else followed from that moment you decided to stop hiding. I raised my glass, taking in the scene, my friends, my students, my art, my truth. All around me, people were creating, learning, growing. The darkness of revenge had bloomed into something unexpectedly bright. To first steps, I toasted. And to last laughs, Tori added with a wink. As the evening wound down, I found myself alone in front of my newest piece, a digital phoenix rising from scattered ashes. Below it, a simple plaque read, "Sometimes victory isn't about destroying what hurt you. It's about building something they can never take away." I touched the wedding ring mark on my finger, long since faded. The emptiness there didn't hurt anymore. Instead, it reminded me that some spaces need to be hollow before they can be filled with something better. Martin had tried to make me nothing. Instead, he'd helped me become everything I was meant to be. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.